The LinkedIn Podcast Network is sponsored by SAP. SAP Business AI. Embedded across SAP solutions, it drives immediate impact. From Joule, your digital assistant, to AI-powered capabilities portfolio-wide, make confident decisions using your own data. SAP Business AI. Revolutionary technology, real-world results. That's SAP Business AI.
Have you been feeling the effects of stress, burnout, or anxiety at work? Listen to the Anxious Achiever podcast to rethink the relationship between your career and your mental health. Get the Anxious Achiever wherever you find your podcasts and walk away with practical advice you can implement today.
LinkedIn presents.
Happy Wednesday, friends. I'm Michael Kovnat, and this is the Next Big Idea Daily. Quick masterclasses from the best new books, written and read by the authors themselves. Don't forget to hit follow and sign up for our newsletter using the link in the episode notes. So, who are we? I don't mean we as individuals. I mean, who are we as a species? It's time to zoom out and take a broad view with these big ideas from the new book, A Theory of Everyone. The New Science of Who We Are, How We Got Here, and Where We're Going, by Michael Muthukrishna. Michael is an associate professor of economic psychology at the London School of Economics, and in his book, he draws on the most recent research from across the sciences, humanities, and the emerging field of cultural evolution to paint a panoramic picture of who we are and what exactly makes human beings different from all other forms of life. Here's Michael.
Energy abundance is at the heart of all humanity has achieved. If you look at a graph of wealth, population size, size of countries and polities, declines in violence, child survival rates, literacy, health, lifespan, or just about any other indication of progress, you'll notice something odd. The fall of the Roman Empire, the violent conquests of Genghis Khan, the devastation of the Black Death, the innovations of the Renaissance, the discoveries of the scientific revolution, and much more of what you covered in high school history are mere blips in the history of the world. There are wiggles and bumps on all those progress metrics, but everything is pretty flat from the beginning of history to the mid-1700s. And then, everything just explodes. Everything before the mid-1700s is completely dwarfed by the enormous progress that has taken place since the Industrial Revolution. A Theory of Everyone describes 4 laws of life: the law of energy, innovation, cooperation, and evolution. These laws tell us what happened. When energy is available, life harnesses it by working together in larger, more complex units and discovering innovative ways to do more with that energy. For all animals, including humans for most of our history, the energy return is a one-to-one return on time. Humans had one key energy technology that allowed us to pre-digest foods, shrink our guts and jaws, and grow our brains: fire and cooking. But even so, as hunter-gatherers, the amount of food you gathered was a function of how long you spent gathering food. If game was large and easy to find, then populations grew to meet this energy ceiling, until abundance once again turned to scarcity. It was a Malthusian zero-sum world of tooth and claw. The next major energy revolution was agriculture. Rather than wandering around hunting and gathering, agriculturalists switched to harvesting and grinding, harnessing the sun's energy for a reliable food source, using it to grow their populations and outcompete smaller, less energy-rich hunter-gatherers. Our most recent energy revolution, and the one that changed everything creating the modern world, was the Industrial Revolution, when we discovered stored sunlight under the ground. Plant matter, algae, and other ancient organisms stored solar energy in chemical form through photosynthesis. Millions of years of time and pressure had turned them into dense fossil fuel batteries: coal, oil, and natural gas. We have been draining these batteries in a matter of centuries, using that awesome power to exponentially multiply human ingenuity to unimaginable levels. On the back of cheap and available coal, England was able to create the largest empire the world had ever seen, and the reason you're hearing this in English. Eventually, many other societies caught up, and the unlocked energy and all that we could do with it incentivized working together in ever larger, more peaceful groups. But today, things are different. Energy scarcity is the ultimate cause of the problems we face today. There is a metric in the energy sciences called Energy Return on Investment, or EROI. It captures how quickly our energy ceiling is falling. As an example, here's how much oil it takes to discover more oil. In 1919, 1 barrel of oil found you another 1,000. By 1950, 1 barrel found you another 100. By 2010, 1 barrel found you another 5. In the end, it doesn't matter how fancy or efficient your gadgets and other technology are. If you can't charge them, you can't use them. We assume that we could ignore energy because we would always have enough or use technology to do more with less. But as financial advisors warn, past performance is no guarantee of future results. Fossil fuels are becoming costlier to mine, process, and use. Continued peace and progress requires us to get to the next energy level, likely some mix of nuclear fission, solar, and natural gas in the short term, and hopefully one day nuclear fusion. But reaching the next level of energy abundance isn't inevitable. As energy declines, the probability of conflict between large, energy-rich coalitions of countries grows. The probability and cost of corruption and civil unrest are greater when energy is scarce. As the energy ceiling descends, the threat of global war and civil conflict both come ever closer. Here's an analogy. Imagine yourself waiting for a bus. Let's treat the rate of buses as the total energy available. Let's assume buses arrive every 5 minutes and there's plenty of space available for everyone. If there's plenty of seats available, you might graciously let someone ahead of you in the queue. Even if you miss out, there will be another bus in 5 minutes. There may be mumblings and grumblings about the 1% with special passes that always get them to the front of the line, or about people favoring their friends or in-groups and letting them into the queue ahead of you. But it'll remain mumbling and grumbling as long as there are seats available. Now let's imagine that the frequency of buses slows down. 1 an hour, 1 a day. Seats per person, which in our analogy represents energy per person, decreases. But the number of people is the same or increasing. The mumbling and grumbling erupts into something much more hostile. It's easier to be nice when there's more to go around. Our world is more peaceful, but also more dangerous. The secret to intelligence, creativity, and innovation lies in crowd computing and our collective brains. Humans count, humans read, humans reason. These abilities are often attributed to our big human brain as a piece of hardware. But just as the usefulness of Excel, Google, or ChatGPT are not found in computer circuits, but in the software that runs on them, most of our cognitive abilities are not the result of anatomical evolution. This has been one of the major breakthroughs in our understanding of human intelligence. Our brains have barely changed since the rise of modern humans, if anything, shrinking in the past few thousand years. But in that time, we have gotten smarter. Our thinking has improved as a result of successive cultural software upgrades. Thousands of years of evolving knowledge, skills, and ways of thinking passed down through generations from parents, grandparents, and most recently, schools, books, TV, and the internet. Take numbers, for instance. Our ancestors had a limited counting system. They counted 1, 2, 3, and then many. Those that went further used stones, notches, or body parts. But these systems don't make the concept of zero obvious, let alone negative numbers, despite their usefulness in all sorts of calculations. That required a software upgrade in the 17th and 18th century when the number line was developed, moving the mental model from objects in front of us to positions in space. The number line made both zero and negative numbers more intuitive and teachable even to young children, opening up a world of complex arithmetic. Human babies have to learn several thousand years of human history in order to function in society. And the most efficient way to download that software package is school. Our societies reflected the spread and improvements of schools. Even entertainment became more complex. Think of the wham-bam Batman of the 1960s compared with the Dark Knight of the 2000s. Today's lowest brow TV has more characters and more convoluted storylines than anything our grandparents watched. But then, progress stopped. Schools remained fossils from a world before the internet and certainly before AI. Schools with a factory model applied to creating factory workers for an industrial society. Schools are faltering in the face of a post-industrial information economy. They were built for a world before the vast library of human knowledge became instantly accessible through the computers on our desks and smartphones in our pockets. Humanity needs a software upgrade. In A Theory of Everyone, I explain how some countries are already upgrading their citizens' software. Estonia, for example, went from half the country without a telephone in 1991 to the highest performing students in mathematics, reading, and science in the Western world, and the highest number of unicorn $1 billion companies per capita in the world. And they spend less money per pupil than the OECD average. The way they do it is radical decentralization, a startup-like ecosystem of schools that reflects why Silicon Valley is so successful. The same model can be applied to solve other problems, such as developing better models of social media and better models of governance for the 21st century. You and I are capable of making the world better. Harvard biologist E.O. Wilson once wrote that we have created a Star Wars civilization with Stone Age emotions, medieval institutions, and godlike technology. He was juxtaposing our individual limitations against the astonishing achievements of humanity. Rousseau believed human nature was good, but corrupted by society. Hobbes believed human nature was nasty and brutish, but civilized by society. Hobbes was wrong. So was Rousseau. They weren't even asking the right question because we now know that there is no single human nature. Human nature is deeply nurtured. How we nurture comes from our nature. We now know that the nature versus nurture debate for human behavior makes about as much sense as a right leg versus left leg debate for human walking. We have a dual inheritance of genes and culture inextricably entwined. It has been 10 generations since the Industrial Revolution. Up until now, our energy ceiling has been in the rising phase. That ceiling has been so high for so long that almost every generation alive today lived through periods where growth and abundance felt limitless. Our economic systems, invented after the Industrial Revolution, are focused almost entirely on innovations in efficiency, how to do more with less energy, the law of innovation, ignoring the total available amount of excess energy, the law of energy. But our energy ceiling is now falling. The era of growth is over, and we are living through a great stagnation in productivity as we run out of ways to improve efficiency through non-energy expanding technological innovations. Today, we stand on the shore of a sea of possibilities. We must be careful in how we address the coming waves ahead of us, waves that threaten our now precarious fossil-fueled civilizations. Collapse doesn't happen overnight. Collapse is a gradual decline. We're currently heading down this cold, dark path, but it is not inevitable. Watching these world events sometimes leaves us feeling helpless. What can I do about all the world's ills? But there is reason for hope. Change is possible. The world was made by people no smarter than us, and thanks to rising IQ scores, probably less smart. The difference between utopia and a better world is the acceptance of the constraints of who we are as a species and where we are right now. We can wield that knowledge, that theory of everyone, to reunite humanity, develop models of governance for the 21st century, shatter the glass ceiling, trigger a creative explosion, improve the internet, and become brighter. A committed, well-connected, and well-resourced group powered by easily understood ideas is and always has been capable of moving us to a better world.
Thank you, Michael. Okay, that's our show for the day, everyone. If you got something out of it, please leave a rating or review in your podcast player so others can find the show too. And go to nextbigideaclub.com to find out about our hardback subscription club. That's where we send you the best new nonfiction books as selected by our curators Malcolm Gladwell, Adam Grant, Susan Cain, and Daniel Pink. It also makes an incredible gift. Check it out at nextbigideaclub.com. And come on back tomorrow when we'll hear from Jeremy Kahn, author of the book Mastering AI, a survival guide to our superpowered future. I'm Michael Kovnat. See you tomorrow.